Greetings, and welcome to All Our Faults, a Monster Hearts actual play podcast. I am Mistress Winter, writer, host, and graphic designer with the Tabletop Talespinners Network. I will be your MC for this show. It is a project that the cast and I have been working hard to put on for you to enjoy, and we really hope you do. A couple of things to mention before we begin. Monster Hearts, a TTRPG by Avery Alder, is a game about teenage monsters. Monsters who are teenagers. Like the teens in our mundane world, these characters deal not only with the trials and tribulations of growing into maturity, but the supernatural forces that vie for influence over their lives. And much like our modern teens, they sometimes face challenges, problems that only adults should have to face. Homelessness, domestic abuse, addiction, and much darker issues. Collective as a cast, we have agreed to let this story go where it takes us, and nothing is off limits. But that does not mean that we are including potentially triggering content just for shock value. Everything in the story you are about to witness will have purpose to drive the plot forward and to take those hard left turns. Otherwise, it won't be included in this program. We will be diligent in providing trigger warnings and time codes in the description of the show, as well as an audible warning at the beginning of each episode. Just as much as we are willing to bare our hearts to you, we want to make sure to keep yours safe as well. This podcast will have a mature rating, and listener discretion is advised. In regards to the quality of this podcast, I admit that I am totally new to this whole podcasting thing. I am still learning the tools of the podcasting trade. Simultaneously, a few of our cast members are going through life transitions and are planning upgrades to their audio setup. All this to say that our audio and production value will increase over time as we learn and improve. So we humbly ask for patience and welcome positive constructive feedback. Finally, thank you for taking a chance on us. We know that there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there and plenty of things that can be done in an hour time frame. We hope that each episode is an hour enjoyed, whether you listen on its own, whether you're at the gym, cleaning around the house, or just driving to work. So thank you. Now for a preface for our story. The city of Chester's Chasm straddles the state border between Oregon and Washington, belonging to both and neither in particular. It has thrived and grown over the course of 200 years, despite protests from the Cascadian fault line on which it sits. The far east side of Chester's Chasm breaks against a nature preserve, with the Cascade Falls as a keynote feature, a massive waterfall that pours into a gaping cavern at its base. The fall draws in tourists and locals alike for its wonder, as well as the many events that the city's Parks and Rec department hold at the site. Very few residents, however, know the secrets that the Cascade holds. Foremost, the fact that it stands as a gateway between the mortal realm and the Fae, a parallel realm home to magical creatures and peoples. Even that secret is only surface level. Who can tell what other parts the Cascade will play as our tale unfolds? Our story follows 4 teenagers, each with secret faults of their own. Celine, played by Abby, tries very hard to look like any other teenager, when in fact she is the product of the union between a human woman and a Fae prince. With her parents separated, both by divorce and by worlds, Celine is torn and her heart divided between her mom's second family and her father's kingdom. More recently, her father has been deposed, and Celine is now being hunted by something from the Fae. Bert, played by Ben, is a relative newcomer to Chester's Chasm, having moved with his dad about a year ago. Bert was a self-made paranormal investigator and conspiracy theorist, but a car accident and an encounter with an aspect of death itself would change those theories into facts. Now, one of Death's appointed reapers, he is charged with keeping the natural order of things by seeking out errant entities and spirits and restoring the cycle. Michael, played by Juicy Garland, lives a comfortable, albeit isolated, life at home, considering his high-powered parents put career before family. With his younger brother Gideon as his only familial anchor, Michael drifted out onto hedonistic waters, hungry for attention in all the wrong places. When he floated into Dominic Vega's sight, Michael found the new and endless hunger of a vampire forced upon him. Crispin, played by Kat, has been raised in a fringe Christian sect called the Church of Eternal Vigilance. Since he can remember, Crispin has been groomed to continue the traditions passed to him by his father, often with an iron fist. His mother, also a victim of his father's abuse, was left broken by the 3 miscarriages preceding Crispin. Recently, Crispin has begun to question the modern-day knighthood that has been laid upon his shoulders, thanks to the help of the school lunch lady who seems to know more about the sect than she lets on. Now that we have set the scene and protagonists, here is a little teaser as to what our tale has in store for you.
You and I both remember the yearbook last year, how it started before we stepped in, right?
I do?
I'm just confused, Barbara.
There are invested interests that provide some of our funding, and we have to satisfy said interests in order to keep said funding.
Okay, I get it. I'm gonna go talk to Jacob, though.
I do not want to see a stolen car police report coming across my desk today. I have too many other things to do.
Of course
than
not, Mother.
to handle your frivolities.
I would never. You know this.
Good. Sure, yeah, we'll send it to Crispin at crazies.cult.
Listen, I know you think you're helping. I know you think you know things. And I know that you have strong opinions about me and who I am and what I do and where I'm from. And I don't have a problem with that, truly. However, in this very particular instance, I would really appreciate it if you would be mature enough to put and his voice starts to shake, the needs and the best interests of the yearbook and our fellow staff members above your own personal feelings.
Because now that school is starting, it's kind of tough to just be the one-man army standing against these paranormal forces.
No help is incoming, so it may behoove you to seek out aid where possible. Perhaps your friend, the one in the car.
And how do you think that conversation is gonna go? I'm just gonna be like, hey, I know your thing, and I work with death.
I think you can spare us a little time. And he's like getting closer, pressing in tight.
I'll kind of press myself up, like kind of back against the stone and like turn my head as his head is coming towards mine, but only for a second. And then I'll like lean into him essentially and just, maybe I can spare a minute or two.
So tell me, any fun gossip?
I heard that someone had a fancy date over this summer.
Who?
I'm looking at him.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know, us bartenders, we talk. And had heard that you got into some VIP action.
Maybe.
Yeah? Got yourself a sugar daddy now?
Not quite.
I have heard rumblings in the spirit streets that some new spirits have been wandering around, out-of-towners, and they're causing a little bit more trouble than they usually do.
Okay. Now, when you say out-of-towners, do you mean out-of-town, like, in the land of the living that they came here, or they came from the land of the dead?
Do you want to come with me to the football game this Friday and we can cover it together?
Sure, that'd be great. I would like that a lot.
Okay, I'll put it in the committee calendar, and it'll be a team sport.
It's a date.
We hope you have enjoyed this preface to All Our Faults, a Monster Hearts 2 actual play podcast. Starting on October 18th, we will release our prologue series entitled Faulty Flashpoints. These 4 episodes will be released on a weekly basis before the first episode of our main story drops on November 15th, with subsequent episodes dropping bi-weekly on Wednesdays. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you soon.